Sure. Love you.
Well, here we are back again, like back in our respective home studios. Like we're not, Mira is no longer displaced. I'm glad to be I'm glad you're back home. I know that you had a weird, like everything was weird last week.
It was really weird. Everything was all fucked up.
Everything was all fucked up. And we kind of had like this, I don't know, there's some kind of mania. I don't know if it was a manic conversation, but it was just because everything was fucked up. You were on your phone.
Yeah.
And you were in some weird apartment in Palm Springs and everything was burning. And so it didn't feel like a normal episode.
No, it felt like a kind of emergency, like update episode.
Yeah. Like we're alive.
Yeah. This kind of isn't really a normal episode either because the world is still literally and figuratively burning.
Yeah. It's all everything's so fucked up. And I think this is like, and then on top of that, like David Lynch died, which felt like a creative saint has passed from
my fucking heart. I could not be a bigger David Lynch fan, truly. Like, I cried. I sobbed. I never have cried for a celebrity dying ever in my life. Not once. Like, yeah. It hit me so fucking hard. I, did not expect it. Like, I knew he was going to die. He was old as fuck. But, damn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had emphysema. I kind of wonder, I haven't read anything, but I kind of wonder if these fires and all the smoke, it seems, and
that's what his family said. They killed him. He was homebound with emphysema. He had an oxygen tank. He could barely walk across the room. And then he had to flee the fires. He was it wasn't a mandatory evacuation zone yet when he fled, but it was close and the smoke was just terrible for him and he couldn't do it. He has this studio off of Mulholland, actually. It's this concrete crazy thing that was built by Frank Lloyd Wright's son. And he's lived there for 1 million years. It's it's everything to him. And he had to leave. And the stress of just having to evacuate and being around the smoke in the air and the ash and stuff just did him in.
God.
It's so sad. The fires have taken so fucking much from us.
Yeah, it's a huge bummer. And so I feel like I was kind of joking with you before we came on, but it's you do a show like this where we're basically poking fun at celebrities. It's how do you poke fun at celebrities when all of their houses just burned down?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, it's true. I mean, it's true. It's really rare that I feel bad for wealthy celebrities, but this is one of the few instances where I'm maybe their homes don't deserve to be burned down. That's that's a lot.
Yeah.
Some people's homes deserve to be burned down, but mostly those people's homes did not burn. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't wish ill on anybody. We're just trying to have some fun here, but
I wish ill on lots of people, but not the people whose houses burned.
Well, I feel like David Lynch, he had such a great persona.
Yeah.
That translated so well to this age where everybody's online and, he's got this way of talking and this look.
He's hilarious. He's got this he's got this look. He's got a head of hair that everybody in the world wants. I mean, Jesus Christ, that man was blessed with hair. Holy shit. And just his sense of personal style, his values, the way he filmed, everything about him is so singular and so him that he has his own adjective associated with him. That's how singular he is. Nobody is like David Lynch. He is the most singularly, one of the most singularly unique people as just a person alone in pop culture. You have Werner Herzog and you have David Lynch. Those are they are such distinct personalities in pop culture that exist. I feel lucky to have existed at the same time as these people who are so iconic.
Yeah, there's not that many of them. It's a bummer. It's not quite as fun to be alive anymore.
It's a huge bummer. And it's a huge fucking bummer. I will never forgive Netflix for not funding his final projects. They're fucking assholes. And they should fucking go die. Fuck them. And
wait, I saw Ted Sarandos said that they were going to do it, that they had greenlit it.
Yeah, they fucking went and they just took the credit for something that they absolutely were not going to do, and they weren't going to give him final cut, and they didn't fund the project, which existed for many, many, many years before he died, and now he's dead and they didn't fund the project. So it's everyone was mad at them, and he's oh, actually, we were gonna fund the project. Fuck you, bro.
Well, yeah. You just want to that's what I'm saying. That's kind of emblematic of the sort of.
That's different than individual people saying I loved David Lynch. It's different for a business to be actually, we're going to take the credit for funding the final project of this beloved auteur. You did not do that.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just a cynic in me that thinks people sort of like just glom on to get attention. But
well, companies do for sure.
The thing that I don't understand is why there isn't like a movie studio or some business like Netflix or whatever. Like if I ran one of these, and I don't know anything about it, and I'm sure there might be compelling financial reasons not to do this, but if I'm like a movie studio, I'm looking around and I'm going to the David Lynches of the world, the Martin Scorseses, the John Waterses, the Werner Herzogs.
But those movies aren't popular. Those are not movies that are going to get them the views. They're not, you know, like he did Twin Peaks: The Return on Showtime, which I think is maybe literally, to me, the biggest achievement in television history ever, like of all time. And like, it did not do well. People didn't watch it. It got terrible reviews. It got terrible view counts. Like people did not care. People were like, what the fuck is this? This is a disappointment. Even in his obituary, it was written as like, you know, he came out with Twin Peaks in season 3, which was largely a disappointment. And like to David Lynch fans, it is like the most special thing he's ever made for a lot of them. But to these companies, it's a money suck. It's like, you know, a potential to say like, oh, we worked for this guy, but we're going to lose all this money.
They lose. I don't think Scorsese movies lose money.
No, not Scorsese movies, but David Lynch or John Waters movies.
But okay, so here's what I would say is like, you just go to David Lynch and you say, here's like, I'm going to fund your movies. You're going to have Final Cut. And here's the number that I can afford. And it's going to be, you're going to have to make your movie for $30 million. So it's not going to.
David will say, I need more money to make my movie and I need more time is what he's going to say. It's not that he needs more money for, you know, funding exciting CGI or something like that. He needs more money because he needs more time on set with the actors. And that means paying everybody's salary. That's like the issue that he has.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Isn't there a model, I guess, where you could give Final Cut to really skilled directors and storytellers, let them realize their vision, but understanding that there is, you know, it's a business, there's money involved. You can't have just like a blank checkbook, especially if you're making something weird. But like, I would want to be in business with these people. Like they're making the interesting films that are going to like stand the test of time. Like, isn't there a room for a business like that? Or does it all just have to be Marvel comic movies and bullshit?
I mean, I pray that there's room for a business like that. But, you know, I think a business like that, though, I do think it could profit. I think it could be profitable. I think that the issue is that it's not profitable enough. You know, that's the issue, is that like you could make a little money off a David Lynch movie, but you couldn't make Marvel money. You couldn't make Scorsese money. You couldn't make James Cameron money. You know, like that's the difference, is that it's not going to get a major theatrical release. It's not going to get, you know, the attention of like The Irishman. It's not necessarily going to even get like any kind of award nomination. It's, you know, potentially going to get like nothing besides like a little bit of money and like the credit in the future to be able to say it. But like for investors, they don't care about credit. They care about money. They don't care about, you know, making truly great films. And like you see it with like A24, for example, where
that's kind of the business that comes closest.
Right. It kind of comes closest. But now, you know, you see like they're making fucking Civil War or whatever the fuck. And it's like, they're giving so much fucking money to Alex Garland to make this movie that is shit. It's shit. It's a shitty movie. It fucking sucks. It's not good. It's like a fucking dumb fuck movie.
I didn't see it.
In the same vein as these fucking stupid ass, like, I don't know, Marvel ass movies where it's like, oh, like, I don't know, there's fucking cannons firing in Echo Park or whatever the fuck bullshit. Like, it sucks. And like,
cannons?
Like, I mean, maybe not cannons, fucking bombs. I don't know what the fuck. 1800s trench warfare. But it's like, they're making these movies that are big budget and they're wanting to make a lot of money off of them and they fucking suck. And meanwhile, you have Ari Aster making Beau is Afraid, which again, I think is an incredible movie that is going to stand the test of time. Really fucking good.
I haven't seen it.
Most people haven't, because like, it's a weird fucking movie that did not make a lot of money. And like Ari Aster wanted it to be half an hour longer than it was, and they wouldn't let him. And it like resulted in the movie being delayed for like almost a year because Ari Aster was so insistent on it. And then they did end up cutting it to be shorter. So it was 2.5 hours long instead of 3. Meanwhile, there's plenty of The Brutalist is fucking 20 hours long.
I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
No, it seems fucking stupid. Did you know that they enhanced Adrian Brody's Hungarian accent with AI?
I think I just caught a headline that he had used AI and he wasn't going to apologize for it or something.
He should, like, in my opinion, actually not be allowed to win an Oscar because of that. Like, do your fucking accent, bro. You're a fucking actor. Like, why are you going to get a fucking acting award for an AI enhanced accent? Just do a Hungarian accent, you bitch. Like, Jesus.
I don't even know what a Hungarian accent sounds like.
Me neither, but he's an actor. He should figure it out.
Yeah, that's where you get paid the big bucks.
Go to fucking vocal lessons.
And I should say too, like, you know, you're talking about like how a company could make a little bit of money off David Lynch. A little bit of money could be millions of dollars. David Lynch was a multimillionaire. Like it's not like he didn't make money on his stuff.
No, he made money on his stuff. And he, you know, obviously had like the meditation thing and all of that, the David Lynch Foundation. But like he made money on his stuff. He made good money. But it's like, you know, he didn't make Scorsese money.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
but it's like it's just a different scale. I'm used to like I'm used to like novelist scale,
right? Which is like tinier than any of these people. That's
like
nothing.
My God, you know, like you could do like you could work at like director scale or whatever as a novelist and think you were like rich, you know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, yes, you could like. I mean, if I got fucking $1,000 for a piece of writing, I'd be like, I'm fucking rich, you guys. Like, I am a fucking I'm gonna buy a house. I'm gonna buy a car. Like, I'm gonna give me a TV. Like, I'm like fucking, I'm wealthy, you guys.
Well, it's sad. We will miss David Lynch, but we're lucky to have had him. And what's your favorite David Lynch film, or like, what's your favorite thing he did?
Ooh, God, that is really fucking tough. I mean, Twin Peaks: The Return, I think, is like probably up there. Like, it is like. Yeah, definitely. Like maybe my favorite. But also I'm going to say Wild at Heart is like really, really up there. That movie fucking owns. Like Nick Cage is incredible. Laura Dern is incredible. Everything about it is incredible. But then again, Blue Velvet. I don't know. Probably between those three. It's really fucking tough though. Because then you have Mulholland Drive and that one is so fucking good. See, that's so hard. I'm going to say it's between Twin Peaks: The Return, Blue Velvet, and
Wild at Heart.
Yeah, and Wild at Heart.
All right. I'd say Blue Velvet or Mulholland Drive. I think those are his two. It's
hard for me to not say Mulholland Drive too. It's
such a good movie. I think that's like widely considered to be his like masterpiece, but who knows? Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. So we have the fires, you know, and all these, you know, I think we're kind of in the aftermath of it now. I still don't know if the air is safe to breathe.
It is not.
It is not. Are you like, so I should be wearing a mask every time I go outside?
Yeah, absolutely.
For how long?
They say until a week after the fires are out.
And they're not out yet.
Not out. Yeah.
I didn't wear a mask when I walked the dog this morning. Am I fucked?
Yeah, you're going to die for sure. I mean, if you're like going to your car or whatever, like I think it's fine. But if you're going out and like walking the dog, I would say wear a mask for sure. Because also the Santa Ana winds are picking up again today and they're going to pick up the ash and fly it through the air. So there's literally an ash advisory today.
Yeah, this ash isn't going anywhere. So every time the wind blows.
Yeah, until the fires are out for a week.
Yeah, but the ash is going to sit there after the fires are out.
Right, for a week. And then the wind will largely blow all the particulate matter out of Los Angeles.
It will.
I have a friend who studies or has like a PhD in environmental science or something, and that's what she said. So I trust her.
So a week after the fires are out, and then make sure there's not like a wind event.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
God.
A week after the fires are out, I think even if there is a wind event, it's probably okay. But in the meantime, if there's any winds at all or even not, you should wear a mask.
Okay. Well.
It's fucked up. The particulate is very frightening and strange. It feels like an invisible death.
Well, it's like usually you think of like a wildfire. It's like a forest, right? It's like plant life that is burning. But in this case, you had like entire sections of a big metropolis burn down.
And like, you never know, like asbestos probably in a lot of those buildings.
Like cars were burning. Like what the fuck is being released when a car burns? You know,
Dude, you don't. I saw this. I was just looking at Twitter and I came across an article that was like, it said like VW bug miraculously survives the fires. And I looked at the picture and it was my friend Bennett's house that I had spent like all of high school hanging out in. And I could recognize it from like just the bricks in front of the house, like just burned to the ground. I could see, you know, his room and all these things just like burned. And then miraculously, there was his little brother's VW bug from like the 60s or whatever. Like, okay, drivable. They push it down to the PCH to get it towed and fixed. Like, literally a miracle. The weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. It looked untouched.
Well, that's like the thing, is that these fires are so unpredictable. They're jumping from structure to structure.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason to it, right? Like there's some houses just by the luck of the draw got spared.
Right. And even those houses now, it's like the Palisades is unlivable, right? It's like, you know, you can be in those houses, but you can't drink the water. There's no electricity. It's all fucked. Like it's crazy. There's like some houses totally standing that you still cannot exist in. We
tried to drive over there over the weekend. Like we I don't know. I just wanted to like lay eyes on it and be like, what the hell happened? And there's like National Guard Humvees in the road. Like you couldn't get there. They're blocking it off, which I guess is good because it's
Are they blocking off all of PCH?
No, it's like they blocked off. We were on Sunset and they blocked it off. I don't know I think PCH you might be able to go north south, but like it's a toxic ash zone. People shouldn't be back there unless you live back there. You're trying to like recover stuff, but even that seems treacherous.
Right. Even that is hard. And like, they're just letting people in, like, you know, in small groups and stuff and making sure they have all kinds of equipment to be able to like get stuff out of their houses. It's like incredibly toxic.
Yeah. It's fucked up. So you have that. And then you have, I mean, we're supposed to not talk about anything serious in this show, but again, this is the big challenge of the times that we're living in.
Yeah, this is a weird episode, and so is the last one, because it's just like there kind of isn't any news that isn't depressing right now.
Yeah, like there's no news that isn't somehow touched by like whatever apocalypse like that we're living through, or like some variation of an apocalypse. But, you know, not to get too deep in the weeds on it, there was a political transfer of power here in the United States of America this week. And the one thing I want to talk about is this Nazi salute by Elon Musk.
I liked how the ADL, which by the way exists to quote unquote combat anti-Semitism, they were basically
what is the ADL again?
The Anti-Defamation League.
Okay, yeah.
It's just a pro-Israel lobby, basically. It you know, disguised as like an anti-Semitism thing, and they were like, things are very heated right now, and there's like a lot of political tension. So like, let's all slow down. Like there was like an awkward moment there, but you know, it was like basically saying like, it wasn't a Nazi salute. Like he's just autistic. Like he just was autistic and got nervous. Like that's like the defense everyone is using. Yeah, autistic people are naturally anti-Semitic. It's fine.
They're Nazis. They're Nazis.
You know, you don't be ableist about it.
Yeah, they're going to gaslight endlessly. But it didn't seem like there was any question what it was.
No, he did it twice.
Yeah.
When I was told that he did it, I was like, okay, maybe, you know, it was like just like a weird mistake, a weird moment or whatever. No, that was a fucking Nazi salute if I've ever seen one. Like that is like not. That was undeniably a Nazi salute, and I do not know how anybody could say otherwise.
So that's where we are on day one.
Yeah, day one.
We've got
also
Nazi
withdrawn from the World Health Organization.
Jesus Christ. What a nightmare. And Elon Musk is, to me, like something's wrong with the guy. Is he on drugs? Seems like the speedier drugs are sort of like the MAGA thing, kind of like it was for the Nazis. Like they're really into like meth and cocaine and that sort of stuff. I don't think they're into like weed or psychedelics.
I mean, maybe like a little bit like on the side, just because they're like into drugs in general, and like maybe just taking drugs left and right. And also like if you're doing uppers, you often need something to like come down from the uppers. And,
true.
Like, you know, the weed will help that if they don't have Xanax, which they probably do. Like, I don't know. I think definitely uppers. If I had to guess, I would say meth over cocaine, just because it's longer lasting. You don't have to like do bumps in the middle of the RNC or whatever. You can just kind of like do a little bit of it and then, you know, wait a while before you have to do another.
Just ride it out for 18 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
These people are so like, what a nightmare. Like that's who's running the show. A bunch of people on meth.
I mean, truly nightmarish. Like my friend texted me when that happened and she was like, I didn't know that like you could do Nazi stuff in public unless you are like my dad at a Chinese restaurant on Hanukkah trying to be inappropriate and make everybody uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's fucked up. I'll say this, and I'm not trying to chest thump here. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. It's just what I'm doing. I have not watched a single second of political news since the election. Didn't watch any of it yesterday, the inauguration, nothing. I've watched nothing. I don't read about it. What's that?
For those of you who don't know, Brad and I have spent the last 8 years, I'm going to say, arguing about politics, Russia specifically. Brad does believe that Russia is in his home and there are security cameras in his toilet, which Vladimir Putin is watching regularly.
Hey, I'm paranoid.
But now that Brad has decided to tune out, if I ever have a political idea about something that Brad disagrees with, I can just say, well, you don't even watch the news. So
yeah, I'm broken. I'm out. I'm like, fuck this place. Like, this is like, I'm happy to participate in whatever positive like movement comes about or revolution that comes about. Like, wake me up.
This exists because people pay attention to the negative movements. So it's not going to seem that positive to you.
Yeah. But I paid hyper attention from 2016 to 2020. Yeah, I get it. I know, but it's like, it's not surprising. It's not surprising at all. Nothing that's people, because I'm picking up things.
Surprising anymore.
Yeah. It's just like, oh yeah.
Since 2015.
Yeah.
Like and it like doesn't feel good to be right either. That's the thing. Normally it feels really good for me when I predict something and I'm right. I'm like, hell yeah, I fucking nailed it. Like, that's like fun for me. I've like predicted all of the terrible things that have been happening in politics like correctly for the last 8 years, and it feels like shit. It feels like absolute shit. I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong. I desperately want to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you just can't believe it. You can't believe that, or I guess you can believe that people would be this foolish, but
no, they say that people with clinical depression are more realistic about the future.
I guess.
So that gives you any indication about what our world is like.
I kind of feel like, though, we manifest these things, though, by saying it's going to happen, it's going to be bad. Then, of course, things become bad.
But yeah, that's why people always get mad at me when I make correct predictions about the future.
You're not always right. You're sometimes right.
When have I been wrong?
I'm sure plenty of times.
Really?
If you're being honest.
I would bet that you can think of 3 times off the top of your head when I've been right and 0 times when I've been wrong.
I don't know everything that you're predicting. I'm just saying that, like, the little humility.
I predicted to you.
Oh wait, Mira is Nostradamus. She's Kreskin. She's predicting everything.
A little more accurate than Nostradamus, I would say.
Well, what's going to happen? How does this end? Tell me, since you're a predictor. Are we all just going to die?
Yeah, we're all going to die for sure. I mean, it's going to be a climate apocalypse. We're going to be seeing way more things that we can't leave the house because the air is toxic. I think we're going to see a lot more Nazi shit. We're going to see a lot more, like, police brutality. I think if we're lucky, the positive thing that might happen is more CEO assassinations. So like that, I think, is something to potentially look forward to.
See, folks, this is why Mira and I only talk about pop culture on this show.
Like, I once suggested to Brad that we have a podcast where we do discuss politics and we call it generational warfare. And he correctly said that was a bad idea. So
I just think it's just too stressful and crazy, Like,
yeah, it's a terrible idea. You're right. To be clear, it would not be a fun podcast for us to do. It wouldn't be fun for anyone to listen to.
Yeah, I just want to have I want to have a laugh before I go up in smoke. Like, Jesus.
Well, you got to learn to laugh at how horrifically bad the world is, and then you'll laugh a lot.
Well, yeah, I got that down, but it's like, I don't know how there's a certain point at which you can't engage with this subject matter.
Yeah, no, it's really fucking bad. I mean, like, as a Jew, I do feel like it is my God-given right to make jokes about even the most horrific things, including the Holocaust, because that's how we survive. But yeah, no, it gets much harder to make jokes when people are just like doing Nazi salutes. Like, okay, well, how do you even make a joke about that? He just did it. You can't even be like, haha, he's going to do a Nazi salute. Like, no, he just did a Nazi salute. It's done. It's over.
Fucking A. Fucking A.
Jesus, are they all going to wear Hugo Boss next? Like, probably not, because they are dedicated to looking like shit. But, like, God. I mean, like, did you ever look at the menswear guy on Twitter?
No, I don't look at Twitter.
Yeah, well, in the past I meant. But I highly recommend looking at just this guy's Twitter if you want, like, not positive news, but like funny shit. Like his whole Twitter is just like critiquing menswear. And like, so he, like when Musk did the Nazi salute, for example, he's doing the salute and his like, I saw it and I was like, okay, so he's like, for the first time in my life, I'm seeing somebody do a Nazi salute in a way that like really looks loserish, like nerd loser shit.
He couldn't even do a good salute.
Involved. He's like fucking, his arm is like limp when he's doing it. It's like, it looks like shit. And so the menswear guy pointed out his armhole is way too low. And it's making it so that his sleeve is like popping up all crazy when he's doing the Nazi salute, which to me is such a funny response to doing a Nazi salute. Like, see, his suit looks like shit. That's why the Nazi salute looked like shit. And he just like does this to like everybody, to the point where like they fear him. Yeah. And like, it's beautiful.
But no, but that's what you're supposed to do, is mock these people.
Yeah.
Like, just mock them. Like, that's what they deserve. They're clowns.
Yeah, they're absolute fucking clowns. Like, mock them and shoot them in the back. That's the feeling. You either mock them or you murder them, and that's it.
So let's talk about celebrities.
Let's talk about celebrities, bro.
Let's talk about, like what's happening in the culture. I feel like this is kind of a crazy story, and I don't necessarily know if I believe it. It's this headline reads like Meghan Markle's team reportedly shopped a quote post-divorce book, but then like the marriage might be fine. Like, this story makes no sense to me. I want to take it apart. I need you to tell me.
I mean, like, if she did shop a post-divorce book, of course they would like come out with something that says like, actually the marriage is fine. So like,
I don't get divorce. I don't get divorce vibes off of them. I don't get unhappy couple off of them.
No, I don't either. I mean, it seems like they escaped the royal family together. They seem okay. I mean, like, I don't know. I guess you can't really tell that much just from like seeing people online or whatever. But like, I don't know. They seem fine. Like, they don't seem like they're going to get a divorce. And like, if they did, I feel like she could shop that book for a lot more money after they get divorced than like before.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't make sense either. Why would you be shopping this before you're even divorced?
Right. It's like, once you get divorced, there's going to be like all of this like press and publicity about it. It seems like that would be the time to shop a book. It's like immediately when you get divorced, like, maybe like a week before, but like, no, because it's like what is she putting, like a fucking like embargo on her divorce? Is there like a press release? Like, don't tell anybody yet, but like, we're going to get divorced soon. Like, that's like the kind of thing that like you don't tell anyone besides your lawyer.
So in page 6, it says, quote, people who work for the Duchess of Sussex had a conversation with an unnamed publishing house to, quote, gauge interest in the idea for the book, which a person with knowledge of the situation told Vanity Fair for a bombshell expose published on Friday. The source reportedly clarified that the book was meant to be about the aftermath of a split from Harry.
Wait, a bombshell expose that was published? Oh, I see. So they clarified it was meant to be about an aftermath of a split from Harry and not Markle's first husband.
Full disclosure, I actually met with him years ago. Yeah, like this was like way before Meghan and Harry, but I met with him when he was married to her.
Oh, wow.
Because he was going to potentially represent me in like Hollywood stuff.
Is he he's like an agent?
Yeah, like manager dude.
Okay. Huh.
And it was just totally random. Like, a friend of mine put me in touch with him, and I went over to his office, and I had no idea. And he was like, I think he was telling me about her, and I didn't even know who she was. I was like, oh, okay.
It's also saying that the Sussexes, that both of them have a 4-book deal with Penguin Random House. So like, if she was doing a divorce book, she would have to do with Penguin Random House unless she came out with 3 books before that.
Okay, so if this story, which a person with knowledge confirms the broad details of, was that Meghan's team had a conversation with a publishing house to gauge interest in the idea for a potential book. The concept, for which there was no written or formal proposal, was post-divorce, not a general book on life after marital dissolution or one about Meghan's past experience. This book, this notion of a book, really, might center on a post-Harry divorce. Not that there was one actually in the works, just if this a priori divorce ever came to be, would this publisher theoretically be interested in a book that took place in its aftermath? Another source with knowledge says, quote, if that's true to any degree, she would have been approached and not
Right.
vice versa. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. This makes no fucking sense to me.
Because it's also like the kind of book that, like, of course any publisher would want. I mean, if she just like said, I want to write a divorce book, she would immediately get bids from like every single major publishing house.
She could write a book about elephants and people would publish it. Like, they don't care. They just want to like cash in on
like
that.
Shop this book around before the divorce even happens to see if it's like gonna get like traction. Like, it will get traction. Everyone knows that.
Okay, so let's just say that Meghan Markle did not go to a publishing house prior to even any whisper that they might be getting divorced to shop a divorce book. Let's just say that didn't happen. It's bullshit. How does this story exist? Who are the people who are, because I feel like there is constantly a stream of like negative press around Harry and Meghan, and it's got to be coming from the royals. Like, there's a propaganda war, I feel like, unfolding, and I feel like Meghan and Harry are often on the losing end of it. Yeah,
I mean, I do feel like there's some kind of something happening because there is like so much bad press coming out about them, and like they haven't done anything. Like
they just came and handed out food to firemen, after the fires. That's the first I've seen them in a while. But like,
they've just been kind of like hanging out. Like, they have like, I don't know, she had a cooking show on Netflix or whatever. Like, it's not like they've like been doing things that are controversial like ever. Like, what is this like? Oh, like she's like, there's this idea that she's like trying so hard to like benefit from him, like to try to like, I don't know, like get his like clout for being in the royal family or something like that. And that's the only reason she's married to him. But like, I haven't seen any evidence of that. And I don't really understand why everyone like hates her for it. She's married a royal. Like, of course there's things attached to being married to a royal.
I see stories a lot of times about her that are unflattering about how she treats her staff.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I trust those. I'm like, where is this coming from? And
also,
maybe
we don't see any stories about how William treats his staff, and I'm sure he treats them like shit.
I just, and the thing too is like, I like to think I'm a decent read of people. I could be totally wrong on this, but like, I don't get the vibe off of her that she's like a mean person.
No, and like, I obviously don't know her personally, so I can't like say one way or the other for sure, but I don't get the vibe that she's a bad person. And like, I haven't heard any stories that felt like believable enough for me to be like, oh, she's a bad person. Like, I haven't like heard, because this is like what, like, oh, there's like an anonymous source who's familiar with the issue saying that maybe she was trying to shop a book to like, I don't like see any proof or any evidence that that's like real. I don't see any, like, doesn't seem real. Like, it seems like something that was like planted to make her look bad.
Yeah. And I mean, do we have stories about Kate and William at all? Like, about them?
Nothing.
You don't know anything about how they treat people. No. I'd be so fascinated to know, like, behind closed doors, what they treat their staff like.
I mean, they are so fucking mysterious that when I heard Kate speak out loud about her cancer, I was like, I've never heard this bitch talk before, ever.
Yeah.
Like, they're like very, very to themselves, like extremely. And like, they don't, like, no press is out about them ever. You don't ever hear about how they treat their staff or how, anything about them. And like, it makes you think about like the royal press machine and like what goes on there and how like all this stuff is coming out about Harry, but nothing about William. Like, and like only also after he left the royal family, right? Like, this stuff didn't come out when he was in the royal family. Well,
but I mean, I read his book. I read Spare.
Yeah.
And I actually listened to the audiobook, which he voices very ably. And there was like, I think there are passages in that book where he's talking about how like his family, like, there's internecine warfare through the press. That's just sort of like a fact of life.
Yeah.
In the royal family.
What does he call it? The company or something, the royal family. He's got like a name for it like that.
It's something like that. But it's like, you have like Charles and Camilla who are planting stories in the tabloids in Britain that basically like undermine their own children.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fucked up, man. I can't even like,
I mean, like, Harry was told as a child that he existed in case William needed an organ transplant. Like, can you imagine telling that to a child? Like, that's crazy. That's like, I mean, after that, it's like, okay, I believe anything that they'll do to Harry. I mean, they'll do anything. Like,
yeah,
they'll put out any news story. I mean, like, it's all about, saving William.
Saving the institution.
The institution, that's what it is. There you go.
Yeah, saving like the royal, like they'll do it. Like, there's nothing that they won't do to try to like keep this thing going. And
nothing. They killed his mom.
You think they killed her?
I mean, no.
I mean, like maybe like ultimately the life of being a royalty,
right.
but like they didn't like they didn't put a hit out on her. You don't think?
No, I mean, I don't know how. I don't think they put a hit on her. I don't think it's like that intense. I do think that there was like a lot of like she was being. Well, okay. I mean, I'm not trying to get like too conspiracy theory here because I actually don't know a ton about the royal family to be like, here's the deal. But I did watch the documentary Diana in Her Own Words, which is like
I saw that.
Yeah, it's like a documentary for those who don't know that she did these interviews with a close friend of hers who was a journalist, and he recorded them and just saved them for a really long time. And they only came out just a couple years ago in this documentary. And in that documentary, she says at one point that her brakes in her car were like cut or were fucked up. They were not working in her car like before she died. And she said she was concerned that the royal family had fucked with her brakes. And then she died in a car accident like a week later, which is spooky.
Were the brakes on the car that she died in fucked up?
Yeah. And then she got them fixed, and then she got in a car accident.
No, but I'm saying like that was her car that had the brakes fucked up. But then like she was in a car with a driver. She was like being chauffeured around Paris.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, you can't really say for sure that they fucked up the brakes in the other car, but it is weird that the brakes in her car were fucked up like a week before she died from like what seemed like an issue with brakes.
It's a mess. It's a toxic family, toxic environment. What else? And I don't think, like, if I had to place a wager, I would say I don't think like Meghan and Harry are on the rocks. I think they're fine.
I don't think so. I think they're fine. I feel like they're fine. Like, I have at least seen no evidence that they're not fine.
I mean, yeah, usually you don't know anything and then suddenly the news breaks that they're splitting.
Yeah, and like, again, I don't know them personally, so I can't really say, but they don't strike me as being like in having an issue like that. They strike me as being fine. Like, I would believe a Kate Williams divorce before that.
Yeah, me too. And I like to think that they're both nice people. I really don't. I mean, Harry grew up in this fucked up like bubble, so that's going to make you kind of inherently weird. It's like growing up in Scientology or something. You know, right. Like it's not your fault. You know, like you're just born into this thing. And I think the fact that he came out as semi-normal as he did, it's kind of amazing. I don't get the sense that he's like a hot-headed asshole. I think he's like maybe she's so. But maybe like Meghan is such a good actress that
she's such a good actress. I've never seen her act before.
I'm not saying she's like Meryl Streep or something, but I'm just saying that like maybe she's good at like presenting a certain way, but behind the scenes.
I mean, as a royal, I guess you have to be pretty good at like presenting a certain way. Like
that's right.
In that family at all, like it's just necessary. So like I do think that if they were getting divorced, we wouldn't know.
But and we wouldn't, it's possible that they could be presenting in this way that seems like really like kind of benign and kindly and all, but then be behind the scenes, just be like narcissistic monsters.
Right. Yes. But like what makes me think that they aren't is the fact that like despite the institution of the royal family and like all of their publicity machines and everything, we know that William is a psychopath and he's the next king, right? He's the one they have to protect. And yet we know that he's a psycho. And so if Harry was a psycho, I do feel like we would know about it because the royal family would like use that against Harry as much as they possibly could to like distract from the fact that we know that William's a psycho. You know, like Harry.
Wait, we know that William's like truly like a psychopath? I
mean, you read the book, right? Harry's book. He fucking went for Harry's neck. He like went and tried to choke him and like tore Harry's necklace off of his neck and like pushed him to the ground.
What kind of necklace was Harry wearing? Why do I not remember this? I know they fought, and then there was like this.
They fought. Harry, like, and like, to be clear, like going for the throat, choking is the number one indicator of spousal homicide. Like,
oh, right. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and like he went straight for Harry's neck without like flinching, without thinking about it, and that to me says that he is abusive. I mean, like, how do you go and attack your brother and choke your brother, like without even thinking about it? That's a crazy person. Like, yeah. I don't know if there's anything that somebody could say that would make me choke them. Like, I would maybe punch them or fucking scream or kick or something, but like choking is like true psycho shit.
Like, I'd gouge their eyes out, but I don't know if I would choke them.
I would like murder them with a big stick. But I don't know if I would choke them. I'd shoot them with a gun, but that's different.
Yeah, I mean, I'd beat them senseless with a baseball bat, but choking is just beyond the pale. I think we've talked about this before. My whole like psychological theory of the case with William is that like the fact that Harry could leave,
yeah,
like that transgression, it's not offensive to William on the level of like you're damaging the institution, blah blah blah. It makes him enraged because he can't.
Right. He's like, I'm stuck and you're supposed to be stuck with me so that I can take it out on you. And now you're just leaving? Like, fuck you. Like,
yeah, you're going to go live in Montecito, you asshole.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I have to suffer and you're just choosing not to suffer. That's fucking ridiculous. Like, we're supposed to suffer together. That's the whole thing.
Right. That's the betrayal.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of get it. I kind of do feel bad for William in a way because like,
he could just fucking not be a royal. He could do the same thing Harry did and he's choosing not to.
That's right.
Leave it to your son. Be like, all right, fucking, or like not, or fucking leave the royal family and then your son won't be king.
I feel like even though there's no like real power, there's cultural power, but there's no political power attached to the monarchy in any kind of like serious way, right? It's just kind of a ceremonial role for the most part.
Yeah, they technically do sign off on every law before it can become law, but it's like it's ceremonial. It's not like a real thing.
Yeah, so it's like you don't even have that, but you do have this cultural power and you do go into the history books on some level. I feel like it's like the ring in Lord of the Rings. It's like if you're the next in line, it's like, you're looking at the ring and suddenly you're kind of psycho about it.
Yeah.
It's like, I want that ring.
Charles, his whole fucking life, he's spent his whole life being like, I'm going to be king, I'm going to be king, I'm going to be king. Now he's fucking dying and he's king. Is he happy now? I don't know, but it's what he wanted.
And no, he's not happy.
No, he's never been happy. He's never been happy. He thought this would make him happy and it didn't, because of course it didn't.
That's the thing. We like as human beings, we have these ideas of what we think has to happen in order for us to be happy. And then if it ever does actually come to pass, then we realize that we're not happy, and then we're really unhappy. It's like, fuck.
It also like there are quality of life things, like for example, if you can't afford your rent, having more money to afford your rent would make you happier, right? Like that's like there's a certain level of like comfort and like stability that you need, and that does make you happier. But once you get past a certain point, it's like, okay, what do I want to achieve in my life? Do I want like happiness and like love and like, friendship and like all of these things that are long lasting and that like, will make me happy in the long term? Or do I want, to be the fucking King of England? And William chose the King of England and Harry chose the other thing. And like now William's like, oh fuck, I'm not the happy one. I better choke my brother out.
And maybe like plant a story in the American tabloids about his wife like planning a divorce book. I mean, like it just smells fishy to me. It smells fishy. Yeah. It smells like something kind of dark and sinister.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it's like, who is leaking this story? Like who is like telling them this story? Who is like so close with Meghan that like, they're instantly believing like, oh yeah, for sure. Like that's correct. Like who's confirming this story? Did they talk to the publisher? Did they talk to like anybody? Like, and like who is like risking their NDA and like potentially paying millions of dollars for breaking an NDA to do this? Yeah.
And by the way, like I know they probably have some help, but like how big of a staff do Harry and Meghan really have? I don't think
probably pretty big.
Really?
Yeah. I would bet like if you include like publicists, managers, agents, like fucking, makeup artists, like, and including like the house staff, nannies, like the fucking people who fly the planes, the people who dress them, the people who, tailor their clothes. I mean, like if you go all the way down the list, I'll bet there's like hundreds. But for like house staff, I'll bet it's not that big.
How big is your staff, Mira? Do you got staff?
I mean, I have like a 2-bedroom apartment. So I've got like, it's not that big. It's like 20, something like that. So, yeah. they clean
anybody who's rolling with more than 20 people on their personal staff is it's just egregious. It's outrageous.
I mean, it's insane. It's how many people do you think Martha Stewart has in her house staff? Probably like minimum 100.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
It's got to be insane. Like, I watched that movie the other day and just the amount of people who are like working on her garden, and then Martha is in there with the gloves and she's fucking in the dirt and she's like, no, you're planting it wrong. No, you have to wrap the burlap in this way. Like I mean, she is running that staff like the fucking Navy. It's really impressive.
Well, this is going to be kind of annoying because I can't say who it is. Just I don't feel like I'm at liberty to disclose. But
I'm gonna guess wildly.
A friend of mine is related to a celebrity.
Jared Leto.
And how did you know? And she was telling me about the celebrity's life and just like lifestyle and this like beautiful house that they have, like, you know, and guess how much they spend on a monthly basis on their gardener?
Oof. It's like one guy?
Well, I mean, probably like a small team of people who do their landscaping monthly.
3,000.
10,000 plus.
10,000 plus on landscapers?
Monthly.
They must have a big ass garden.
Well, I don't care how big it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fucking insane.
I was just like, see, this is where I'm like, okay, you're living on a different planet. Like, I'm not even on Earth. Like, you're not even on Earth. Like,
the way a truly rich person lives, it's like, oh, this is like not even what I thought being rich meant. Like, it is like another fucking level. It is alien. It is
120 grand a year for your gardener, just off the top.
I've never made that much money in my life.
I mean, it's crazy. It's
120
crazy.
grand a year is a lot of fucking money.
To like mow the lawn, like keep the flowers pretty.
I mean, it must be a daily thing. They're going in there trimming the hedges on a daily fucking basis. That's like so ridiculous. And that's not even their whole staff. That's just the garden.
I feel like they're getting fucked over, to be honest. Like, you're sort of stupid if I don't care what size land you have. I mean, and by the way, I know they don't have more than like 10 acres. Not even. This is in LA. These plots are not that big. They're not living on some ranch, you know.
What part of LA? I'm trying to.
The valley. The valley.
The valley. What part of the valley? Like Calabasas?
I'm not going to say.
Is it Kim Kardashian?
No. But it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, and it's just otherworldly.
It's Jim Carrey.
It is Jim Carrey. He's my friend is related to him somehow. But.
My sister used to work at this like it was like a nursery, but it was also like it was like a family run like landscaping service. They did like, you know, like landscaping for like rich people, and she planted the flowers in front of Jim Carrey's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody was telling me, like one time I was driving around, they pointed out a house and they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so lives there. It's like gardener to the stars. There's always like it's one of the most annoying parts of living in LA. There's something to the stars. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's the plumber to the stars.
I mean, I follow like 25 nail artists to the stars, you know, like I know all the famous nail artists and all the different shit that they do.
Well, when my wife and I were first dating, like I would go over to Carrie's apartment and, you know, to hang out or whatever. And then there was this like across the street and like down the alley, there's like this very nondescript, like kind of LA bungalow house. And Carrie was like, yeah, this is where everybody gets waxed. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah. Like, and I forget the lady's name. She died since, but she truly was like the waxer to the stars.
I mean, it's, you know, when you're a celebrity, it's like, okay, like I need like a waxer. I'm going to ask my other celebrity friend who her waxer is, so that I don't have like a celeb or like a waxer who's going to call Page Six or whatever. Like, it's like,
well, that's it. And then also like, it's like you roll into this like really unassuming kind of alley behind this house and like jump out of your car and like go in, and
there's no paparazzi like on fucking, you know, Melrose taking pictures of you getting a wax or whatever.
That's right. That's right. And you're not going to do that at home. I mean, I guess you could, but
a lot of people do. That's like, there's
now they come to your house with the wax and
yeah, they come to the house with a little pot of wax, and I have friends who've done that. Like, it's not even a celebrity thing. It's like getting like your nails done at home. It's like an extra cost, but like you can do it.
I want to say this woman was making a fortune too.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, waxing is pricey. It like,
what does it cost? What does it cost to get your bikini line waxed?
To be honest, I've only ever gotten a bikini wax one time, and it was quite traumatizing, and I hated it, and I'm never going to do it again. It was gynecological. I did not expect it to be as intensely gynecological as it was. I remember like leaving the salon and just being like, what happened to me? Like, oh my God, no.
It's like PTSD. You're like,
I had like straight up PTSD. It's let's see, for
like couple $100 or I don't even know.
No, it was like 50 or something to get a bikini wax. And it takes like 10 minutes. It's like not like, it doesn't take a long time. And
I'm squirming thinking about it. It's got to hurt.
It hurts. It's like, I mean, it's getting it done professionally is a frightening experience. Like I get why celebrities might pay a lot of money to go to a nice bungalow. Cause like for me, or for most people, it'll be a lady and she's like, lay down, take your underwear off. Okay. And then she like puts like baby powder on you and like just like she's like putting hot wax. Is that okay? Too hot? Okay. Just keeps putting it on. She's just like, oh, very hairy. You got a lot of hair here. Oh, when was the last time you got a wax? Not good. Like, and you're just like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, it's nightmarish. Like, truly nightmarish. Oh, most women I know wax at home, like, at this point in their lives. Like, some people I know go and get waxes regularly, but, like, most of the people I know are, like, married or in a relationship, and they're either waxing at home or not waxing at all.
Yeah, I just feel like it's too painful. Like there's got to be a middle ground. Do you really need to wax? Because waxing gets rid of all of, like, do you need to get rid of everything? Just like take care of it, like groom it. But
I mean, that's what John Waters says. Like, you know, don't go nude. That's weird. But like, just keep it groomed. Just keep it nice. Just keep it.
That is weird though. It is weird. This thing, like we're going to have like you're prepubescent or something.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Like I remember getting a bikini wax and just feeling like, I don't like the way I look. This is like freaky. Like I'm not into it. Like this is like, this whole situation is traumatizing. Like it was like, I was about to go to Miami with Elizabeth Ellen and Chelsea Martin. And I remember getting on the plane the next morning and seeing Chelsea in the airport and being like, Chelsea, I had the worst fucking experience yesterday. It was so traumatizing. Like just like seeing her and being like, help me. Like it was so awful. She was just laughing at me. She's like, you've never had that done before? I was like, no, people do this regularly. Like, what the fuck?
I have been reading that Meghan Markle is now shopping a book about bikini waxing.
She's become a bikini waxer.
She wants to wax. It's all about how she wants to fully wax her husband before divorcing him.
Eyebrows and all, just the whole fucking thing.
She wants him to be completely denuded and hairless.
It's, I mean, if you get an esthetician's license and you can do all those things, it's good money, but like I couldn't handle it. It's gross. It's gynecological. It's intense. And it's like, I don't want it done to me by a stranger and I don't want to do it to a stranger.
Yeah. I'm not into hair. Body hair grosses me out in a huge way. Like I don't want it. I don't
prefer
like it.
Fully nude eyebrows, hair.
I just don't want to see it. It's like if it's attached to you, good. But I don't want it like when there's like a hair on like a bar of soap, forget it.
Hair is like, I get so grossed out by hair in food that like if I eat a food and it has a hair in it, I won't be able to eat that food later on.
Yeah,
I'll get grossed out by it.
Yeah,
like even if it's something I made that's perfectly fine, the hair just falls into it and I eat that hair, I'm like, no, I can't eat this anymore.
Do you want to hear?
I'm never going to eat this food again.
You want to hear the grossest story along these lines?
Of course I do.
That I have in my arsenal. So years ago, before we had kids, Carrie and I went on a trip to Vienna. Mm-hmm. And beautiful city, you know, kind of like there's like a grandeur to it, all these statues and old buildings. And we were having a good time. And of course, we're like looking through the books or whatever we were doing, like going online, trying to figure out where we should eat. And they're like, yeah, there's this cafe called Cafe Sperl. And it's like a historic Viennese cafe where like Sigmund Freud had coffee and, you know, all this shit.
And they serve like cream and fish and like mustard and black coffee and vodka.
No, I mean, they probably did. But like, of course, we go there and there's like, we'll like just have this like little mini pizzas. And I remember they brought it out. It wasn't like, you know, like a thin crust pizza. It was almost like you know how like they had pizza bagels.
Yes.
It was kind of like that, you know.
They still have pizza bagels, bro.
Yeah. But I mean, in Vienna, you know, I don't know what they're called. But so we both got it, and Carrie takes a bite of hers. I'm eating mine. She takes a bite of hers, and she's just like, ugh, like starts to like chew on something, and then like reaches into her mouth and pulls out like a thick, like unmistakable, like fingernail clipping. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Like we almost like literally like got up and just like sprinted out of the restaurant.
I would be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
but we talked to our waiter. We were like, dude, there's a fingernail, and he was like, oh, he's like totally like, oh, crazy, like, oh, you know, like Viennese, like didn't. But I mean,
you guys.
just gnarly. I mean, like the most disgusting thing.
Oh God, it's so fucking gross, dude. Ugh.
So yeah, it was called Cafe Sperl. We call it Cafe Hurl.
Yeah, yep, that's
Don't go there. I don't care how much fucking coffee Sigmund Freud drank in that place.
Man, food in Europe is fucked up. Sorry, like Europe it's fucked up. Every time I've gone there, the food has been so fucked up. They give you like a shot glass of water, and they're like, "You can't drink the tap water, fuck you." And then you get like a weird like anchovy in mayonnaise and like spiced vodka, and they're like, "This is delicious. Royals eat this." Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is like a fucking pickled egg in heavy cream with like a fucking like fish paste. These motherfuckers eat fish paste. When I went to fucking Sweden, they had this fucking, it was a beautiful like breakfast all laid out like in the hotel, you know, and they had these delicious pancakes, and they had like this like, you know, fruit compote, and every single person in the fucking hotel went straight for the fish paste. They had these fucking toothpaste tubes of fish paste and this disgusting sourdough toast, and like they would just put the fish paste on the toast, and that was their fucking breakfast.
Yeah, they eat like they eat like herring in Scandinavia.
Yeah, herring. They fucking love it. And it's like, so there's no fucking fish near fucking Sweden. That's why it's so fucking gross. That's why it tastes so fucking fishy, because it's like fucking pickled. It's been there for months.
What do you mean? What do you mean there's no fish in Sweden? There's
fish. There's shitty fish. There's weird tiny fish that they have to fucking pickle in vinegar for 40 fucking months before it's edible. Like, there's fucking bullshit fish that are disgusting. It's all like fucking weird tiny fish, the kind that you throw back in the ocean when you catch them.
That's why I'm a vegetarian. You don't have to deal with all this.
And like, to be clear, I love seafood. I will eat the weirdest seafood. You go to a sushi place, omakase, I will eat everything the chef brings. Fucking monkfish liver, give it to me. I love it, no problem. But you go to fucking Sweden, and like, I never thought that I would hate fish as much as I do when I'm there. I was with Tao in Sweden, and I was
Tao Lin, the author.
Podcast, the author. We were there touring a book that we had written together, and they took us to this place that was like supposed to be like, you know, like the Dalai Lama had visited, and he ate there. And we were like, okay, so it's really fancy. It was so disgusting that like if I thought about it for months afterwards, I would gag.
Did you feel like you had, like, because they were taking you there, did you feel like you had to eat the food?
I literally, when they like walked to the buffet thing, I put my food on Tao's plate, and I was like, just not my food. I ate it. It's fine. Just don't tell them, Tao. Like, because he was eating it for some reason, and he was fine with it. And I was like, this is fucking disgusting. Like, I do not need another fucking cold fish salad. I'm going to go insane. And I was like sick also. And they're like, oh, don't worry. Like, we have something great for you. And they hand me this fucking glass, and it's like got like steam coming out of it. And I'm like, oh, it's a nice tea. I drink it. It's hot, like cinnamon vodka. Like spicy hot vodka. I was like, you people are trying to fucking kill me.
Well, yeah, I think if you're sick, the last thing you want to eat is like a cold fish salad. That's disgusting.
It's fucking disgusting. And like, I don't want to eat that when I'm well, let alone fucking sick.
I almost just threw up just thinking about that.
It's so fucking gross. And like, Denmark was the same fucking way. I ended up eating like fucking grapes and bread in my hotel room, because it was like the only fucking thing that I could find that was like edible. Like, it was crazy.
I don't know. I mean, Sweden, it's different. It's a different palate. It's a different cuisine, you know?
Yeah, disgusting, unacceptable white people cuisine. These fucking people are too fucking Aryan for their own damn good.
What do you like? What would be good to you? Like, you like seafood? Just like cooked?
I love seafood. I love seafood when it's cooked in a normal fucking manner.
like grilled or broiled or something.
Like almost any kind of seafood, honestly. Like, I love like a grilled fish, a broiled fish, a raw fish. Like,
do you make this stuff at home? You cook fish in your apartment?
Like a salmon, maybe. Like, you take like a salmon fillet and you put like a lemon, half a lemon. Here's a great recipe for people. Get yourself a nice salmon fillet. You get a piece of tinfoil. You put the salmon fillet in it. You put a little bit of butter. You put a lemon. You put some capers. You could put some, I don't know, some herbs in there if you want. You wrap up the tinfoil. You put it in the oven. And then like 3/4 of the way through, you unwrap the tinfoil so it gets a nice brown on top. And then you eat it. And it's delicious.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes your apartment smell like fish, right?
No, it kind of smells like butter, like grilled. Like it doesn't like, because if you get good fish, the thing is it doesn't taste fishy. Like when fish tastes fishy, that's a problem. Like that means that it's not good fish. And every fucking fish in Sweden tasted fishy. Every single fucking one. And they like it. But like in reality, if you get good fresh seafood, it doesn't taste like disgusting fishy ocean. It tastes like good.
But I feel like all the fish in the ocean are toxified. They're all full of mercury and shit.
I mean, that's another issue. I might be full of mercury because of all the fish that I love.
Yeah, everything's
worse than others. Tuna is really, really bad because they eat smaller fish. But if you get fish that like aren't super high in the food chain where they're eating
like the small fish that like herring in Sweden.
Unfortunately, the disgusting fish probably are lower in mercury, and I would rather get mercury poisoning.
I was going to say the reason they tasted weird to you is because they didn't have any poison in them.
Yeah, I like the poison. I'm there for the poison. That's the whole point.
When I took my daughter to Europe, like talk about annoying. Because like I'm a when in Rome person. Like if I'm in a foreign land, I'll try to like, experiment. I'll eat outside of my comfort zone.
Will you eat meat?
Yeah. I mean, it's like if I can eat around it and not eat it, I won't.
But if there's like a delicacy or something like,
or just if it's like we're at a restaurant and it's just fucking impossible.
Right. You're in Mexico, you're not going to be like, is there lard in this or whatever?
No, I'll just have like, I'll usually eat like the shrimp, like what do you call those? What do you call crustaceans?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because those don't have pain sensors. Like I don't have to feel it. Shellfish, that's what I mean.
Yeah. They don't have pain sensors, really? Because when I cook lobster, they scream.
Well, no, but it's like shrimp and mollusks, I think, are the ones that have like the least amount. Lobsters, really? Yeah. You cook lobsters and they scream? Like you're cooking them?
Okay. Every Thanksgiving, my grandpa, who does, he's a spear fisherman and he does like diving and he does like scuba diving and shit like that.
Your grandfather is spearfishing?
Oh yeah, he's very fit. He is very like, he's scuba diving, he's spearfishing, he's skin diving, he's always catching fucking giant fish. He like it's wild. Like he's like, sometimes he'll just send me a picture and he's like holding a 6-foot tuna and he's like, I caught this the other day. Like he's like, it's really funny.
Where's he doing this? Just off the coast?
He does it sometimes in some areas of Malibu. Just like off the coast. He will go to Mexico sometimes for specific things, like for like fucking like abalone. He'll like catch abalone in Mexico, and things like that.
Then do what with it? Ship it home or
eat it? Bring it home and eat it. Put it in the car in some ice and bring it home. And then his wife is a really good cook.
But I'm saying he's driving to Mexico, so just like down the Baja Peninsula. He's not like flying.
Baja.
He's not like putting a abalone in his carry-on.
No. Do you know what an abalone is though?
No, I have no idea. I'm a vegan.
Shellfish. It's like that big or something, and it's like it's rare in the United States, so you can only skin dive to catch it. So you can't use scuba gear to catch them.
Oh. Skin diving is just diving under the ocean without scuba gear.
Yeah, without gear, exactly. But so my grandpa every year for Thanksgiving, for my whole life, has caught lobsters. And we have that on Thanksgiving. So we'll catch like fucking 13 lobsters or something like that. And when I was younger, and still we do it at Thanksgiving with the younger kids, he'll do this thing where he puts a rug out on the like balcony porch area, puts all the lobsters on the rug, gives each lobster a number. Then each kid gets to pick a lobster. And the lobsters race. So whichever lobster gets off the rug first, that kid wins and gets whatever. But does the
lobster that wins get to survive? Do they take the lobster?
They all die. They all fucking get fucking boiled and fed to the family. And boy, they are fucking delicious. They are so fucking good. It's a California spiny lobster, so they don't have claws. And when you put it in the boiling water, they do scream. They let out. It is just air being released, but it sounds like they're screaming.
I think they are screaming. They have very elaborate pain sensors.
Can't be.
Yeah.
They're the only crustacean that has like elaborate pain sensors.
Yeah, I want to say, because like if you like maybe not the LA or the California spiny, but like the traditional like red lobsters, like you put them in a pot and then they're like bang on the.
Yeah, they like wiggle around and scream.
Trying to get out of there. Ugh.
I, from a very young age, I think got very, like, I really don't like watching anybody besides CEOs suffer, including animals. But I think from a very young age, I was really desensitized to the suffering of seafood, like of sea creatures. Like I would just like, I'm so used to like seeing my grandpa like be like, hey, come check this out. And just like pulling a gigantic fucking dead tuna out of like a fucking icebox and being like, see, crazy. And I'm like, whoa, that's cool. Or like, you know, lobsters fucking like running away and trying to, you know, scream as they're being boiled alive. Like I'm like, those are bugs. I don't care.
Yeah. You know, it used to be prison food.
Yeah, it did. It used to be like a punishment. It's I don't know how it became fancy. It seems like a good punishment though.
It's going to be really interesting when you have a family and you start your own traditions that every Thanksgiving Mira is going to cook a CEO and serve the CEO to the family. It'll be
that won't taste very good.
I don't know though. If you grill a CEO,
I'm gonna make the CEOs like race and do a little dance for us before.
Yeah, hey kids, come out to the porch.
Right,
pick your CEO. We've hogtied the CEOs, and they're gonna wriggle towards the finish line. Whoever wins.
You know what's crazy about lobsters when you take them out of the ocean and you put them on a rug to race is that they jump. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but you take a lobster out, not in a tank, you put them just like on the ground. They will do this thing where and this is how they get off the rug. They tuck their tails underneath themselves and then flip it out. So they like hop like that. It's very surreal.
They're fucking desperate. They're terrified.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're desperate and terrified, and we're torturing them for our amusement.
All right. So there's a new segment that we're going to do here quickly that I think is maybe interesting. It's called What We're Watching. And we're basically going to just share something that we are currently watching on television, or I guess a movie, something we've seen recently. And Mira, I'll let you go first. Like, just tell me briefly what is capturing your attention lately.
So recently, what has been capturing my attention is a incredible show that I think is up there with Twin Peaks: The Return and deserves all the credit in the world for its just incredible cast, incredible editing, incredible plot lines, and that is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Are you saying that tongue in cheek?
100% no. I mean it 1,000%. Like, totally earnestly. That show is incredible. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking funny. It's like, those women are putting in the work and they deserve it. They deserve every bit of success that they've gotten. It's so good.
Is it? But it's like cinematic art, you would say.
Yes, it is cinematic art, 100%. Those editors, like, if any of those editors are somehow listening to the podcast, like, thank you for your service, because like you have done incredible things. There is nothing like it. If anybody is curious about it and they think that I'm kidding or I'm being facetious or I have bad taste, that's fair. If you think I have bad taste, actually, that's fine. But just watch season 1, episode 1 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and tell me it's not one of the funniest things you've ever seen in your life. It's so good. It's so fucking good. It's the only maybe show ever, or just at least Housewives franchise, in which federal crimes are like a character in the show. Everybody is doing federal crimes non-fucking stop. The finale of this season featured everybody at a dinner, and I could actually read out exactly what they said. So one of the housewives was like, oh, like, let's do a game so that we all are closer and we all can be, you know, like, they were like kind of fighting, and she's like, let's do this game so we can all like feel close to each other. And then she said, I think we should take our phones, go through our text messages, find the worst thing we've said about someone at this table. Then you're going to hand your phone to the person you said it about, and they're going to read the text out loud to the group. And they did that. And one of the ladies said about another lady who has a very rich husband, said, I like her business plan. Marrying somebody who has one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. I mean, just ended. Done. Perfect. Like, the perfect insult. Never heard anything like it. Give them every fucking award in the world. Incredible. Perfect. Just chef's kiss.
Your enthusiasm is just so palpable.
I mean it. I'm not kidding. It is art.
It brings you joy.
It brings me joy. And like, beyond that, like, I just really want to emphasize, I'm 100% earnest, not kidding at all. Not even a little bit. incredible cinema, just perfect.
But is it, I feel like these shows are part fiction, like they're kind of scripted, or is it just a full, is it full verite?
So like what it is really is that like you take these women who are friends, but they're not always like super, super close. Like basically they research like the social circle and they'll kind of pick out the women who are like the funniest or whatever and who are, you know, friendly with each other, know each other, have hung out, but aren't necessarily super, super close. Some of them are. And they basically just take these women and like the arguments that they're having are real, but they're in a very unreal situation kind of where like they put them, like they'll take these women and they'll say, okay, we're going to take you all to Mexico and you're all going to stay in the same house in Mexico. And then one of the producers will text one of them and be like, you need to confront Heather at this dinner about that thing that she said to you. Like that was really fucked up. And then so when they get to the dinner, they're all riled up and ready to like confront each other about this or that thing that they did, which was a real thing, you know, like they're like complaining about things that did happen, but it's in a very pressurized situation.
Right.
And then the editors will take what happened and they'll create storylines that aren't fictional, they're real, but like it's, you know, they're taking the most interesting parts of each story and they're putting it together as a through line for each episode. So the casts of the shows are contractually bound to not go against the plot of the show that the editors have put together. So it's mostly real, but, you know, it's like a very high pressure situation in which these women probably would not be doing or saying these things if they weren't on camera.
Would you ever be a Real Housewife if they approached you?
I am nowhere near rich enough. I am nowhere near fancy enough. I think I might be a good Real Housewife in that like I'll pop off and not really care what the other women think of me because they suck. But that's a one season housewife, you know, like that's like you have to like kind of befriend the ladies if you want to be like a multi-season housewife. But I think the truth is they would just never ever make me a housewife. Like I hate rich people too much. I'm too political. I'm too angry. I'm too intense. I think that I could be a good like one season fuck everything up and then leave housewife.
You'd be like a chaos agent.
Yeah, I'd be like, for those who have watched Salt Lake City, I'd be like the Monica Garcia.
All right. Well, I mean, I think you made me watch one of these Salt Lake City episodes.
This probably the one where Jen got arrested.
Maybe it was. I found it to be, it's very manic. It's like you're watching it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting stressed out. And these people are all talking really fast and cutting and it's chaotic. And it's just, that's what it is.
It's so good. It's like, the thing is you have to understand how to watch Housewives in order to do it. Like I've introduced a lot of friends to this show and they'll be like, so who's the good guy? Who am I rooting for? And it's like, you got to let all that go. There's no good guys. There's no bad guys. Everybody's bad, basically. You are not rooting for anybody. It's every man for themselves. And you just go along and enjoy. You just have to be along for the adventure.
Well, I'm watching this show called The Agency. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's like I think if I have like something that I will always watch, it's if there's a like spy movie, especially if it is shot on location overseas, because it functions as a kind of like travel show for me, in addition to being like a show. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, yeah, I get to go. This one's set in London. So it's okay.
Like a British show or is it like an American show set in London?
I think it's an American show set in London because it's an American CIA like outpost in London.
Oh, okay.
But the agent, it's the CIA. It's not like
not MI6.
It's not MI6. Yeah. And it stars Michael Fassbender, I think is his name. And then Jeffrey Wright, who's always great. Richard Gere is the CIA director.
Wow.
Or what? No, he's the head of the London station, I think. And I've been watching this, and like what's interesting is that I'm like 9 or 10 episodes into it, and I don't know what the fuck is happening.
How do you like, keep enjoying it?
I don't know. This is the whole thing with me. I do this because I fall asleep. I'll watch episodes. They're like, I guess they're 45-minute episodes or an hour. I watch them over. It takes me like 3 nights to get through an episode because I always fall asleep. But I just like the world of it, and I like the way that it's shot, and it's like something is intriguing and dangerous. But like, if you ask me to tell you what the hell's going on, I really couldn't explain it. It's just like,
It's like when I watch shows just for the outfits. Like sometimes I'll just watch a show and I'll be like, I love these dresses. I don't know what's going on, but like, wow, everyone looks great. Like you just like the spy vibe.
Like this is the thing. Like I find myself like I will watch No Country for Old Men anytime it's on. I just like the world of that show. Did we talk about this, or was I talking to somebody else? But it's like it's a weird comfort movie because it's like this brutal homicidal maniac is like killing people with like a cattle gun or whatever. It's so fucking weird to be like, my buddies, and like to sit around watching it like it's Dazed and Confused.
About how we both feel that way about Zodiac.
Yeah, that's another movie that I'll watch. But what was I going to say when it comes to
like spy stuff?
I was like recently I've been like I watched The Lord of the Rings when it's on. Which is like not me. That's not my I'm not the fantasy guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like the guy who like likes elves and sprites and stuff. But
really, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's just not my personality. But like I was watching it the other day. Like I like to have it on while I'm working because I want to go to New Zealand and like live there and be safe in the like the beautiful. I want to live in like especially like the tree village where like the hot like what's Liv Tyler?
Oh yeah,
and Kate Blanchett. I just want to go into the tree village and be like tended to and taken care of and nurtured. But I was also like looking at Viggo Mortensen, and like he's so goddamn handsome in that movie.
He's so hot in that movie. It's fucking crazy.
That's what I mean. You're just like, wow, like he's going to be the king, and like I think there's something comforting about the idea of him being like the monarch. But there's no common denominator. Like, I guess there's certain worlds that maybe are so well realized that I like to be there. Like, because even in No Country, it's like that beautiful, like West Texas, like
you're like immersed in like a world that is not your own. That's
right. And I'm like, take me out of whatever the hell I'm in now and get me there. But, yeah, I love spy shit. Like all the Bourne movies, which is like a very like white bro thing. Though. They're fun. And like you're in Morocco and like you're running around in Berlin and like they're shot with that handheld camera. And it's like, it feels like
realize that maybe I like movies that like make me more in this reality in some fucked up way. Like I like love movies that are like,
I've got enough reality.
I mean, so do I. It can't be good for me, but like I love hearing, like I will put on Housewives to fall asleep. Like reruns of Housewives to fall asleep. Like I love hearing the women just babble on, just fucking talk like about God knows what, just like the most like heinous shit in the world. I love it. I fucking love it.
Well, but it is funny. I mean, it's like these shows are meant to be entertaining and like campy and like trashy. It's intentionally trashy and like I get it.
I do think these shows though are smarter and require a certain amount of intelligence, like more so than people give them credit for. Like these shows have like some very, like if you want to watch them that way, like it is like a sociological study on money and female hierarchies and like wealth and wealth in different areas and disparities and like the personality disorders. Like it is like there's a lot there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that now it's starting to make sense why you're into it.
Yeah, it's like I was watching with my mom one time and she was like, these women are all terrible. And I was like, I know. And she was like, oh, okay. So like you watch this show in the same way that like I watch like shows about like Mormon cults where it's like, oh, these people are all freaks. I'm like, yes, that's exactly right.
Okay. So yeah. So, okay. Now I'm understanding because I love cult shit. That's another one of my things. Like if you put a cult documentary or a cult movie up,
I love that shit.
Love it. Like, I think that's why I was watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood the other day. And I think that's like the Manson cult aspect of it is my favorite part of it.
Yeah,
you get to see it.
Yeah, like I love seeing it. Like, absolutely, that's why I like the Source Family documentary so much. There was so much documentation of it. You got to really see it. Like
all that old, like all that old Super 8 footage of all those freaks like walking around on Sunset. Like
that health food fucking restaurant, like all that stuff. Like amazing. Like the amount of documentation, I could just watch it for so long.
I have recommended the Source Family documentary to so many people. Like I feel like it's like an all-time great, and it's just because it's such a wild story and it happened for real and it happened right here.
And like there's people who who left the cult and still don't feel bad about it. They're like, oh, I kind of had it. Like a lot of people obviously had a terrible time, but some people like liked it and were just talking about it like that.
Well, I mean, like the thing is as I recall, like the coda to that documentary was like revisiting all of these people who were involved like later in life, and like
Right.
startling number of them had gone on to like massive success.
Yeah, massive success, huge. Like a lot of them were like wealthy. And
he's like, I'm a tech
fine.
millionaire. I've sold like 7 companies. You're like, what? Like this is it's like too much. Like
Yod fucking Yod whatever died, and they just fucking like a lot of them really fucking succeeded. I guess they're like in Hollywood. They're like doing like health food restaurants and shit. They're kind of like in that.
They were on like the vanguard. They were the vanguard of the health food movement, really.
Right.
That's crazy. Yeah, Father Yod, right? Father Yod.
Father Yod, whatever. Oh my god, that fucking like
too good.
Some fucking weird, fucked up looking dude. Every single time is always who's in charge of these cults.
Yeah, he was particularly charismatic.
He was. It was like
I gotta watch that again. That reminds me. It's been a while since I visited that. It's on Netflix, I think, right?
I think it's on Netflix. Yeah, they've got some good ones on Netflix. They also have that one about that. What was it? That like town that like took over and they all wore red and
Wild Wild Country.
Yeah, Wild Wild Country, exactly.
That's another good one.
Great. I love that one.
Yeah, that's like a whole series, I think. Like
it's like a short series or whatever. It's
what was it called?
One they have documentation. Like
what were those people called though? The Minnesarians or some shit. I forget what it was.
Something like that. Yeah, it was like I'm not gonna remember it, but it was something Aryan. I want to say Piscatarian. I don't know.
Yeah. I think like maybe you like one of the reasons we watch these kinds of things and like them. Like I think part of the psychological fun of it for me is like, how the fuck does this happen? How do you become one of these people who gets wrapped up in this stuff and take it seriously? Like the Real Housewives
kind of has a different route to get there too. Like it's like you have all these different reasons why people have like entered this bizarre thing. It's like, so yeah, it's fascinating.
It is. So yeah, that's interesting. Mira is watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Brad is watching The Agency and doesn't understand anything, but somehow likes it. And if anybody can explain what the fuck is happening in The Agency, please email me at letters@otherppl.com.
Yeah, if you have a little plot summary for Brad, I think that'd be helpful.
What do they call it? Recaps? If you could recap the episodes for me, I would appreciate it.
And please send any thoughts about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Any questions? Happy to answer them as your local expert.
I was going to say, as the foremost expert on Real Housewives in in the lower 48.
It's like Andy Cohen Mira. That's what it is.
That's what it is. So I think it's time for Brad Learns.
Brad Learns.
And today I'm going to be learning about the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively controversy. It's in the news a lot. I think Justin Baldoni has now filed a $400 million lawsuit against not only Blake Lively, but also Ryan Reynolds, her husband, and Leslie Sloan, who is Blake Lively's publicist. So it's like a sexual harassment thing. Like he was being abusive on set and she didn't like it. And then she told someone about it. I don't get what the deal is. Why is he suing these people?
So like, I guess Blake Lively, to be honest, I could know a little bit more about this. And I kind of like, it's kind of an annoying story, so I like haven't like followed it like super, super closely. But
first of all, who the fuck is Justin Baldoni?
Yeah, I did not know who the fuck he was before any of this, and I still kind of don't really understand like why he's a famous director, like what the fuck he did. But he is the director of this movie, which is based on I want to say a Colleen Hoover novel that is like on its own, I think a little problematic in that it kind of like glorifies like abuse. From what I understand, I haven't read it. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know. But from what I understand, it people have felt that it was problematic, that it kind of glorifies an abusive man and makes him seem like, a good love interest when he's actually just abusive and stalking her and crazy. And so basically, Blake Lively came out with a statement just saying that like he harassed her, that he like was saying things like was like fat shaming her, was like asking like her weight and stuff like that, like was like saying that she should lose weight, was like making her do like too many like sexual scenes, like too many takes of a sex scene. And
We're going to need to see that again. We're going to need to do that again. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, like just like, yeah, like literally like, oh, we're gonna have to like, you know, run that back, do that again.
God.
And just like, you know, just being like a shitty person. And I think like also Blake Lively was a producer and he just kind of like took all of her power away and like was like not letting her like actually like be a producer on set. Something like that. And so basically, I think Blake Lively came out with just a statement that was talking about her negative experiences with him. And now I believe that she has sued him because he was sexually harassing her, and she is claiming that she has like concrete evidence, like such as like a recording. Recordings of a meeting in which Baldoni allegedly agreed to cease his on-set sexual misconduct. So there was like a bunch of meetings with him on set saying like he needs to treat people better and he needs to like, and there's evidence of these, like that, you know, he's been like, sorry for my misconduct, I'm not going to do it again, basically.
I mean, I will say like, just like, I don't know anything about anything, but like just the eye test, this guy looks like a douche. Like,
yeah, he looks like a fucking creep. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got like, I'm looking at a picture of him, he's wearing like it's like, what color is this? Mauve, like a blazer, and then like a white, like mesh t-shirt under it and a gold chain. I'm just like, okay.
God, yeah, seriously, dude. Fucking insane. So like, basically, he then has now filed a countersuit against her, say for defamation, saying basically that it's all like not true, but mostly his lawsuit seems to be like, he seems to be angry that like, so like Blake Lively brought Ryan Reynolds into set to do some rewrites of scenes that she was like uncomfortable with, I guess. And part of his lawsuit is about how they were insisting on rewrites. And like that is somehow illegal according to him. Like it's wild to like include that in a lawsuit. Like, see, like they were mean, they did rewrites. Like, it's
well, he's a visionary, just like David Lynch. He demands full control of his set.
Yeah, he says that Lively and her husband ambushed him with rewrites, and that her schemes rather than Baldoni's behavior is why other members of the It Ends With Us cast seem to have distanced themselves from the director. So like he's just saying that like Blake Lively like alienated the whole cast from him or something, I guess. And she's like, I have concrete evidence of sexual harassment. So seems like a wild countersuit to be like, well, she was mean to me, she was annoying.
Blake Lively has said, quote, "This is what experts call DARVO. Deny, attack, reverse victim offender."
Yep.
DARVO. I was not aware of this term.
Yeah, it's like a publicists who are like, you know, crisis publicists or whatever. It's a term that they will use often as like and it's what Justin Baldoni's team used as their like phrase to talk about how they're gonna fight the Blake Lively allegations.
Wait, they said we're gonna DARVO her?
Yeah, absolutely. There's like, what's so crazy is that there are literal screenshots from him and his PR team talking about like how their scheme has worked and everyone hates Blake Lively and like, wow, this is incredible. Like, it's a good thing that we like literally being like, wow, we got everyone to hate Blake Lively and she didn't even do anything. Amazing. Like in text messages completely from him and his publicist, like literally.
See, this is what makes me think like these kinds of stories break and you're just like, man, like humanity's just like not up to the task of existing. But like also like, I really do believe that more often than not, people who succeed in Hollywood are sociopaths, because how else do you get through? Like, it's sort of like the standard that is set by people who have come to run this town. And then everybody adheres to it, or people who are of a similar ilk are gravitate to it and feel like, you know, it's
you
like
abuse or you be abused.
That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, it's like you either are the abuser or you're the abused.
Or you're very, very lucky.
Or you're one of these people who kind of gets through the wires like David Lynch. And I mean, we think, I don't know the guy. Maybe he was, we're going to find out something, you know, like where it's like, oh.
Honestly, I don't think I have never seen somebody die and get so much positive, like purely positive, like nobody saying like, oh, here's like a weird thing that he did, or here's like something that was like kind of fucked up but funny, like nothing. Just
well, he was married 3 times. Like I talked to his ex-wives. I'm sure there's
they all fucking did like 2 of them did a tribute to him, being like, I love you, David.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like, listen, when somebody dies and they were a well-intentioned person who tried hard, did their best.
Treated their actors well, treated everyone on set really well. I mean, that's like something you can really say for him, is he was genuinely friends with all of the actors that he put in his movies. Like they were close, and people on set, like he had the same crew for like all of his movies for years and years. Like he treated people well on set, at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not a saint, but he's a good dude.
Might be a saint.
Let's not get carried away. This is what I don't like. It's like, he's a saint. He's our holy saint. He's TM, you know, he's meditating, and it's like, okay, like, great. He's a great guy, but like, let's not get carried away.
I mean, look, don't talk about my saint that way, all right? Like, this is like, it's getting into religious beliefs, and like, you know what they say, don't talk about politics or religion at the dinner table, Brad.
Trying to think of other celebrities who have died where it's been like similarly uniformly positive. Like, I feel like Jimmy Carter had like kind of a similar send off. Like, nobody had.
I saw some negative things about Jimmy Carter, and I feel negative things about Jimmy Carter.
Oh wait, what did he do?
He did all kinds of fucked up shit. He like fucking in South America did a bunch of fucked up shit, and like did like, I don't know. Tyler, what did Jimmy Carter do that was bad?
He darvoed.
No, can't hear me.
He darvoed Nicaragua.
No, yeah, Nicaragua, probably something in Nicaragua. Did some shit that I remember reading about and being like, that's really bad. Like, damn, maybe Jimmy Carter isn't so good. But
what about Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, Mr. Rogers, that's a good one. Prince, Mr. Rogers, like.
But it's like, I don't know, like, you know, is it really like the mission and like somebody dies and they're totally inoffensive? Like, did they really live their life properly? Like, nobody's offended.
Lynch, totally inoffensive. I think that he made art that was like genuinely frightening to a lot of people and like genuinely counterculture and
that's right.
Weird. You know, I think that's like, not that he like offended people, but he did something that was truly different, I think.
Did you do the 10-minute like David Lynch meditation yesterday?
No, I didn't. That's like I love that David Lynch has that, but meditation has always just made me more anxious.
Yeah, because you have to like actually like see your thoughts. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm thinking too much now. This is like my brain is just fucking going. Like, that's not good.
Or just like, I didn't realize that I was castigating myself relentlessly at all times.
I only like feel the ability to be like truly calm and meditative when I'm like doing something with my hands. If I'm like really involved in like crocheting or sewing or something, I can feel very meditative.
Crocheting or sewing?
Yeah, if I'm like...
Or beating a lobster to death with a mallet.
Yeah, exactly. If I like have like a baseball bat in my hand and I'm like beating a innocent creature to death, then like my brain is just blank, calm, euphoria.
If I'm hog tying a CEO, preparing to roast him over a spit.
Exactly. When I think about CEOs dying, I become calm.
Roast him over a spit? Or no, the spit is the pole, and then the fire. Yeah, I don't know.
I have no fucking idea.
All right, Mira. Well, it's on that note. It's always great to talk with you. I'm glad we're back to having some laughs and talking about pop culture. And we'll try it again next week. I feel like we need some news. I feel like celebrities need to start misbehaving so we can have something to talk about. Yeah, celebrities need to start fucking doing shit. Come on. Yeah, like quit sifting through the rubble of your mansion in Pacific Palisades. Get over it. Buy a new house. Fucking get in Page 6. Do something cool. Yeah, for God's sakes. We have a show to make here. But come on, people. We have a podcast. We'll talk to you next week. Talk to you next week.